Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Business and AI podcast. Today, would be looking at the chapters 4, 5, and 6 of our book, Supremacy AI, ChatGPT, and the Race That Will Change the World. And if you've been following along, you will know that the early chapters introduced us to Sam Altman and Demis Hassabis, two visionaries whose paths paved the way for AI's rise. But in these chapters 4, 5, and 6, the stakes get higher. We explore how their ambitions evolves from scrappy startup hustle into something far more urgent, shaping not only the future of tech, but the future of humanity. As usual, I'll be breaking down these chapters, highlighting major themes, compelling anecdotes, and the big picture lessons. So let's start from chapter 4. It's titled A Better Brain. Right from this chapter's title, you know something big is coming. The author frames this section around one central idea: the quest for ever more powerful AI isn't just about building better algorithms, it's about replicating or even surpassing the capabilities of the human brain. We begin with a spotlight on Demis Hassabis, who doubles down on the concept of combining neuroscience with AI. He's quoted as saying that games like chess and Go are stepping stones to simulate more complex tasks. Each win in game playing AI is a microcosm of tackling real world challenges. This chapter underscores how Hassabis' academic pursuits, including his PhD thesis on neural processes, helped him uh, have an edge when it came to AI research. He defends his thesis at University College London, blending neuroscience and computer science in ways that had never been done before. Meanwhile, Sam Altman isn't content to wait for incremental progress. He's reading widely, everything from Ray's The Age of Spiritual Machines to Nick's Superintelligence, gleaning a sense of existential urgency. Olson shows that both Altman and Hassabis view humanity as limited by the hardware of our biological brains. By building an AI that can mimic or surpass us, they believe we can solve major global issues, climate change, diseases, and more. The result? A race to prototype new AI architectures that can do more than just respond to inputs, they can model the world. Now, here's a key example: Hassabis' collaboration with neuroscientists. In this, we see how real-world lab experiments on human memory feed into his computational models, fueling breakthroughs in AI algorithm. The main takeaway for this chapter is that the closer we get to computer-based better brain, the more we'll push boundaries of science and engineering, and the more we'll risk unintended consequences. Moving on to chapter 5, this chapter is called For Utopia for Money. Chapter 5 delves into the shifting alliances and financial structures that drive the AI arms race. The author highlights how giant tech firms like Google, Microsoft, and even smaller players are jostling to fund the labs behind advanced AI. Why? Because if superintelligence becomes real, even partially real, the economic windfall could be astronomical. Remember DeepMind's acquisition by Google? That was partly about cornering the market on cutting edge AI talent. Altman, meanwhile, keeps forging ties with prominent venture capitalists and wealthy donors who share his vision, or at least see the big potential return. This chapter also delves into a philosophical tension: building an AI utopia versus turning a massive profit. Some folks dream of a world where AI eliminates scarcity, while others see a trillion billion dollar business opportunity. This author shows how these motivations can coexist, but also clash. For instance, Google's purchase of DeepMind was initially framed as we want to solve intelligence and help humanity. Yet, corporate shareholders inevitably expect financial payoffs, forcing that mission into a more commercial lane. One anecdote touches on friction at Alphabet, which is Google's parent company, over big spending on moonshots. That tension leads to strategic reshuffles and internal debates. And we have a key example, the behind the scenes deals like Google's management shuffle, which the Wall Street Journal covered. They reveal how corporate boardrooms can shape AI research priorities. The main takeaway from this chapter is that this dance is very delicate. Lofty visions must face market realities, and the interplay between them will determine whether AI primarily serves humanity or corporate balance sheets. Now, let's take a quick glance at chapter 6. It's titled The Mission. Chapter 6 widens the lens back on Sam Altman. After flirting with various projects and investments, he becomes laser focused on one mission: harnessing AI to address existential risk. Q. OpenAI. Olsen portrays the origin story of OpenAI as part philanthropic endeavor, part safeguard, and part rocket fuel for Altman's ambition. Early co-founders, including Elon Musk and Greg Brookman, come together under a non-profit model to ensure that superintelligence doesn't become the sole property of a single corporation or government. But as the chapter points out, this mission soon morphs into a question: how do you stay non-profit in a field that demands billions for computing infrastructure? We see an internal shift at OpenAI towards capped profit structures, as well as pushing and pulling of big donors who want transparency around how AI evolves. Meanwhile, luminaries like Nick Bostrom warn of misaligned AI. Sam Altman borrows from that vocabulary to emphasize safety measures. The clash, again, is capitalism versus idealism. And here's a key example: Altman's partnership with Elon Musk and how they eventually diverge. Musk invests millions initially, but ends up parting ways because of creative and strategic differences. The author sketches that tension in detail, how Altlab approaches to AI safety can conflict with corporate or personal brands. But now, Elon Musk's skepticism about super intelligent AI is well known anyway. And the main takeaway from this chapter is that of a sense of fragile optimism. And AI's true believers who want to save humanity are somewhere, on the fence. But can they stay on course without succumbing to commercial pressures? We don't know yet. So here is what worked in these 3 chapters. The author structures these chapters to show a natural escalation from personal visions of a better brain to full-blown missions to harness the intelligence for broader society. This compelling arc feels both personal and global, and I think that is great. The references to management shuffles at Google or the creation of new venture capital friendly business models at OpenAI give the chapters a tangible edge. We are not dealing with theoretical philosophies in a vacuum. We are watching them collide with boardroom politics. Also, there's a balanced tone. We watch these chapters from 4 to 6 alternate between excitement, we could cure diseases, right, and caution, but who holds the power? The author largely avoids sensationalism, letting the facts and personal accounts speak for themselves. What could have been better? You see, by the time we reach chapter 6, we've met many characters. We've met Elon Musk, we've met Greg Brookman, we met Sam Altman, we met Demis Hassabis, plus countless corporate backers. The fast pacing of these characters in these chapters can make it tricky to track who is who if you're not already familiar with the AI ecosystem. Also, Olson, who is the author, does mention critics like Nick, but we don't get a deep dive into opposing viewpoints, such as academic researchers who remain skeptical of AGI hype. A more thorough exploration of these counter perspectives might have enriched these chapters more. And also, while chapter 5 highlights the inherent conflicts, it could benefit from more direct quotes and case studies on how companies wrestle with profit imperatives. I mean, this might come later in the book, but at this point, I wish it was able to expand more on this. So, how is this relevant to us today? Whether you are an entrepreneur, a tech enthusiast, or just somebody who is curious about AI influence, these three chapters provide a window into how ambitious visions become real projects and sometimes pivot under financial or corporate pressure. We see echoes of that pressure in current headlines. For instance, Microsoft's multi-billion-dollar investment in OpenAI, complete with cloud computing deals, mirrors the dynamic this author describes. Tech leaders talk about saving humanity while signing big profit-driven contracts. Moreover, the concerns about AI alignment and safety described in chapter 6 are showing up on the global stage right now. Regulatory efforts in the US and the EU weigh how to ensure these technologies don't spiral out of control. The subtext of each chapter is a warning. If we don't balance idealism and oversight, we could face an era of runaway corporate control over AI. So, how can we bring this into practical application? Number one, I would say check your motivations. For founders and creators, chapter 46 shows how easy it is to switch from, oh, I want to help humanity, to I need more funding. Maybe my ideals can wait. So you'd have to learn to keep track of your original mission. Also, understand the funding landscape. If you're building or supporting emerging tech, be prepared for tension between investors and the product's social impact. And the third would be to engage in policy, whether you're a citizen or a business leader. These chapters emphasize the importance of not ceding all AI decisions into a handful of big corporations. Participation in local or national policy discussion is very crucial. So, what can you start doing today? I would say that the first thing you could start doing today is to stay curious and skeptical. Don't just buy the hype about AGI changing everything tomorrow, but also don't dismiss it. Read up on leading AI ethic works, look at counter arguments, and keep an eye on regulatory developments. The second thing you could start doing today is, like Hassabis, bridging neuroscience and machine learning. Try bridging ethics and product design early. That means practical safety checks, bias audits, or external reviews. And the third thing would be to audit your dependencies. If you're in AI, identify who controls your cloud resources or computing power. Are you reliant on a single big provider? Think about how that shapes your research or product. This is very thought-provoking. You should listen to this third question again. This third actionable advice again. Because you might not know it, but when you use a suite of products just from one provider, it might be shaping even your outlook on AI generally without you even knowing it. So, for our reflection questions for today, I'm going to go with the first one. Could the search for a better brain overshadow the crucial need to preserve human uniqueness, such as creativity, empathy, or moral reasoning? That's the first question. Then the second question is, if you were spearheading a major AI project, how would you ensure it remains aligned with the public good when big money starts pouring in? That's like something for you to reflect on. And our third question for reflection would be, do you believe it's truly possible for one organization to remain faithful to an utopian AI vision in a competitive landscape that demands profitability? So, we've journeyed through chapters 4 to 6 of this book, Supremacy AI, ChatGPT, and the race that will change the world. And we've witnessed how personal ambitions of key players, Sam Altman and Demis Hassabis, mesh and occasionally collide with corporate power structures and existential dread. We've seen the shift from we could build something amazing to how do we finance that while staying true to our ideals. And we ended on a note that signals even bigger questions like, are these AI labs truly shaping our destiny, or is corporate interest shaping them first? Really interesting episode we have here. In our next episode, we will move on to the next chapters where the action apparently takes a turn, grappling with big tech consolidation and the Goliath paradox. So expect more tension between these innovators' dreams and real life, and then the corporations. So I just want to thank you for spending time with me here today on the Business and AI podcast. Please remember to subscribe to this channel, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, also leave a comment below. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning what's possible, and more especially what is true. Thank you.